In this series of videos, we're looking at SQL, which is structured query language, and specifically how you can use SQL statements to interact with the database. So I've got this example database from a previous AQA GCSE computer science exam paper, and I'm going to show you how we can query the database with some example statements. So the first things you need to know are three kind of keywords. So select, from, and also where. So what select allows you to do is what data do you want to get, and from is kind of from what table, and where is, as I mentioned in the kind of terminology video, we're looking at the criteria for the kind of query. So an example of first of all, we're going to do a simple query on the class table. And as I mentioned in the last video, we're going to look at getting all the names of all the classes, or the IDs of all the classes that have less than 20 students. So the way I would do this, I would write select class.class ID. And where I'm getting this from would be, I'm getting this from the table class. And my criteria for this is going to be where class.size is less than 20. And the results from this query, so what it would do is it would look inside from the class table. So it would look inside the class table and it would find me the class ID where the class size is less than 20. So it would go through until it found a record with a number less than 20 for size, so 17. So therefore it would return COMP2, and then it would do carry on going, and then the other record with a size less than 20 is this one, so it would also give me COMP2. Okay, we're going to do a slightly more complex one now with what's called a compound condition or a compound criteria. So again, this time I'm going to use the teacher table. So I'm going to get select teacher.surname, and I'm going to do teacher.room, and from the teacher table, and my criteria is going to be where teacher ID, teacher.teacher ID is equal to ter, and then I'm going to use a Boolean operator. I'm going to use or, and I'm going to say teacher.teacher ID is equal to mil. So let's have a look at what this query would return. Well, it's selecting both the surname and room fields from the teacher table. From the teacher table. And the criteria this time is when the teacher ID is ter or mil. So it would look through the records. Okay, so it's found ter. So therefore I'm going to get Turing and 405, which is the room. Now it's found mil. So I'm going to get Milner and 406. And then what it's going to do is see if this one is, this query returns true on the last one. So because MCC is not ter and it's not mil, then the query is going to stop there. So it's going to stop at those two results. Okay, now we're moving on to relational queries. So the idea of being able to query both tables and return results from both. And because you have to have an understanding of how relational databases work, it is most likely that this is the kind of query you'll be expected to predict the results of in the 2016 exam. So an example of this is select, let's say class.size and teacher.surname. And we're looking this time from both tables, so class and teacher, so getting the data from both tables. And my query is going to be where class.size is greater than 20 and class.size is less than 26. I'm going to indent it a bit. Oh, will it allow me to do that? So you might see that if it's a compound criteria, it's indented like this. So I'm going to get another one. So and Let's have a look. What else can we do? And class.daytaught is equal to Wednesday, or class.daytaught is equal to Thursday. And the last one is you have to kind of specify how the primary key links to the foreign key. So the primary key is teacher ID in class, and this is, the foreign key in class is teacher ID, and this is the primary key in the teacher table. So the last one would be and class.teacher ID is equal to teacher ID. So let's run through this last query and predict what the results would be. So it'd go, so we're returning size and surname, so size from the class table and surname from the teacher table. And my criteria are that class size is between 20 and 26. So let's have a look. So this record has 24. So then now let's check if it meets the next part of the condition. So is the day taught Wednesday or is the day taught Thursday? Well, no, it's not. So then we're going to skip on to the next one. 29 doesn't meet my first condition. Neither does 29. Neither does 31. Neither does 26. Oh, but 24 does. So then let's see if it meets the next condition. So is the day taught Wednesday or is the day taught Thursday? Well, yes, it is. So this record would now be added. So now it would find the data from both tables where the teacher ID mil is the same in both records. So then what it would return is the size and the surname that matches that. So the size was 24 and the surname is Milner. So let's keep going. So now these last two queries, neither of them are going to meet this first condition because the size is not between 20 and 26. So this query, which refers to both tables in the relational database, would just return this data, 24, the class size, and Milner, which is the surname. Okay, so hopefully with this video, you now have some understanding of how to kind of read through these sample SQL queries and predict what the results will be. In the next series of videos, we're going to look at writing queries in more detail, and then we're going to go on to see how these are used in the web application.